When you picture a millionaire, what instantly comes to mind? Is it the sleek luxury car pulling into a sprawling gated estate?
Yeah, or someone in a, custom suit, maybe a yacht in the background.
Exactly. Most of us have this vivid image burned into our minds, thanks to Hollywood and pop culture.
For sure.
But what if that entire picture is almost completely wrong? What if your truly wealthy neighbor, the one who just waved to you from their perfectly ordinary Honda, is actually the millionaire?
Hmm. Interesting thought.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into precisely that surprising truth, pulling insights from an incredibly eye-opening piece from the startup literature blog titled Why Your Rich Neighbor Drives a Honda: The Surprising Truth About How Wealth Really Works.
Sounds fascinating.
Our mission is to fundamentally unpack the real characteristics of wealth and reveal how truly ordinary people are quietly building extraordinary fortunes, often right under our noses.
And this deep dive is crucial because, well, for far too long, society has fed us a fantasy about wealth, a fantasy that actually works against our financial well-being.
Right.
This source, which draws heavily from the seminal research in the Millionaire Next Door, isn't about abstract theories. It's a data-driven blueprint for understanding true financial independence.
Data-driven, that's key.
Totally. You're going to experience some serious aha moments, I think, and more importantly, walk away with practical insights that will completely challenge and hopefully transform your approach to money. It's about moving from simply looking rich to actually being rich.
Okay, so if the picture in our minds is wrong, what does the real portrait of wealth look like? Let's peel back the layers of this great millionaire myth. Because the common misconception is so deeply cemented. We imagine millionaires draped in designer clothes, surrounded by luxury.
Endless indulgence, right?
Yeah, living lives of endless indulgence. It's what the movies show us. It's what commercials imply.
And that's precisely where we've been misled. The truly shocking reality, based on decades of comprehensive study by Thomas Stanley and William Danko for The Millionaire Next Door, is that the typical American millionaire spent less than $399 on a suit.
Less than $400.
Wow.
Yeah. They're more likely to drive a 3-year-old used car than a brand new luxury model. They live in a modest home, often in a, middle-class neighborhood, and are far more likely to be found browsing the aisles at JC Penney than strolling through Neiman Marcus.
JC Penney? Really?
Really? And what's even more surprising is that a full 80% of these millionaires are first-generation wealthy. They're entirely self-made.
80% self-made. That's a powerful revelation. It completely debunks the idea that wealth is primarily inherited. It makes it feel so much more attainable, doesn't it?
It really does. It shifts the focus to actions and habits.
So what were the fundamental characteristics, the true pillars they identified that really set these unassuming millionaires apart?
They boiled it down to the 7 pillars of real wealth, and they're really profound. First, and perhaps most importantly, these individuals live well below their means.
Okay, number 1. Second, they allocate their time, energy, and money incredibly efficiently for wealth building. Third, they prioritize financial independence over social status, a huge differentiator.
That makes sense. Less focus on keeping up appearances.
Exactly. Fourth, their parents didn't provide economic outpatient care, which is a fascinating concept we'll definitely explore. Fifth, their adult children are economically self-sufficient.
Interesting.
Sixth, they're skilled at targeting market opportunities. And finally, seventh, they often chose specific occupations, typically business ownership, that facilitate wealth accumulation.
That last point about business ownership is often a surprise for people, but it connects directly to our next big idea: the ultimate trap of looking rich versus being rich.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
The article tells a truly revealing story. During a focus group with actual millionaires, the trust company vice president who was observing them complained, "These people cannot be millionaires. They don't look like millionaires. They don't dress like millionaires."
He couldn't believe it.
Right. Meanwhile, he was wearing expensive suits, a $5,000 watch, and driving a current model luxury import. The profound irony is that this executive spent significantly more on his status symbols than the actual millionaires in the room.
So he looked the part.
He looked the part, but he wasn't wealthy. The millionaires, on the other hand, were building real wealth instead of expensive facades.
It's the classic big hat, no cattle analogy.
Yeah.
All show, no substance. So if that's what doesn't look like a millionaire, what does a real data-backed millionaire actually look like?
The research paints a pretty clear picture. The typical American millionaire is around 57 years old, married with 3 children.
Okay, older than maybe some expect.
And here's what might shock you. Their median annual income is a surprising $131,000.
Whoa, wait, $131,000 median income? That's much lower than most people would guess for a millionaire.
Exactly, much lower than expected. But their median net worth is $1.6 million, with an average of $3.7 million.
So the wealth isn't necessarily coming from a sky-high salary.
Right. They've likely lived in the same house for over 20 years, a home with a current value around $320,000. Their lifestyle is characterized by inexpensive suits, driving used cars,
And they never lease vehicles. That's a consistent finding.
never lease. Their mindset is fixed on financial independence over status symbols.
And perhaps the most staggering difference in their approach, the one that really underscores this entire philosophy, is how little they actually spend of their accumulated wealth. These millionaires live on less than 7% of their wealth annually.
Less than 7%.
Contrast that with the average American household, which spends the equivalent of 90% of their net worth each year. It's a truly staggering difference in priorities.
That statistic for me was one of the biggest aha moments. It fundamentally challenges our perception of how much the wealthy actually spend.
Totally. It's about preservation and growth, not just spending.
And to truly understand where you stand, the article provides a powerful equation. Expected net worth equals your age times your annual income divided by 10.
So age times income divided by 10.
Exactly. So, for example, if you're 40 years old and earning $80,000 a year, your expected net worth is $320,000. 40 by 80,000, 10.
As we consider this equation, it really prompts a personal question, doesn't it? Based on these numbers, where do you land on this spectrum? Are you a prodigious accumulator of wealth or paw?
A paw.
Meaning your net worth is 2 times or more the expected amount? Are you an average accumulator of wealth, or ADW, where your net worth roughly equals the expected amount? Or are you an underaccumulator of wealth, a UAW, with a net worth half or less of what's expected? This single calculation can be a powerful wake-up call about whether you're truly building wealth or just, well, treading water.
Let's look at a truly mind-blowing comparison that underscores the sheer power of living below your means. Consider Mr. Miller Bubba Richards, a 50-year-old mobile home dealer. His income is $90,200.
Okay, decent income.
But his net worth is an astonishing $1.1 million, making him a paw. Now compare him to James H. Ford II, a 51-year-old attorney with an income of $92,330, almost identical to Bubba's.
Right, very similar incomes.
Yet, James's net worth is only $226,511, putting him squarely in the UAW category.
Wow. That's nearly 5 times the wealth for Bubba. Despite essentially the same income, it reveals the core principle: whatever your income, always live below your means.
It's that simple, but so powerful.
The attorney felt compelled to maintain an upper-middle-class lifestyle: the expensive suits, the luxury car, the country club membership. These requirements consumed most of his income, leaving very little to actually build wealth.
The lifestyle trap.
Exactly. Bubba, on the other hand, lives a simpler lifestyle, allowing him to save and invest aggressively. He deeply understands that every dollar saved is a dollar that can work for you forever.
This is the paw playbook in action, and it consists of surprisingly simple habits that are almost shockingly mundane. First, these wealth accumulators budget and track spending religiously.
Like, really know their numbers.
Yeah, over 60% of millionaires know exactly how much they spend on food, clothing, and shelter. They treat their personal finances with the same rigor a business applies to its financial planning.
Makes sense. Treat it like a business.
Second, they actively avoid the consumption trap. They buy quality items at discount prices, drive reliable used cars, and live in modest homes. And third, they prioritize assets over appearance.
Assets over appearance. That's a great way to put it.
They'd rather own appreciating investments than depreciating luxury goods. They fundamentally grasp that wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend.
So, how do you stack up against these habits? The article presents the affluence test with 4 simple questions to help you determine if you're truly on the path to affluence. 1. Does your household operate on an annual budget?
Budgeting. Okay.
2. Do you know how much your family spends each year for food, clothing, and shelter? Like, really know.
Tracking spending. Got it.
3. Do you have a clearly defined set of daily, weekly, monthly, annual, and lifetime goals?
Goal setting. Important.
Yeah. And 4. Do you spend a lot of time planning your financial future? As you listen to those, where did you land? For many, the answers can be a powerful wake-up call, highlighting exactly where to focus your energy if wealth accumulation is your goal.
It's a real self-assessment tool. Now take the case study of Theodore Teddy J. Friend, a high-earning sales professional. He makes $221,000 annually.
Wow, big income, top 1%.
Right, but his net worth is less than $265,000. For someone his age and income, his expected net worth should be over $1 million.
So he's a massive UAW despite the high income. What's going on?
Teddy owns 6 cars for 3 drivers, 2 boats, a jet ski, 2 country club memberships, wears a $5,000 plus watch, and has a massive mortgage.
The lifestyle consumption again. Teddy's psychology is fascinating. The article mentions he grew up poor, and now he overcompensates by displaying wealth through consumption. He equates appearing successful with being successful.
Yeah, that makes sense psychologically.
The solution for Teddy, and for anyone caught in this trap, is to redirect focus from consumption to accumulation. This means drastically cutting back on status purchases and implementing a pay-yourself-first strategy, a concept the article notes was discussed in a previous piece about types of investor.
Pay yourself first, save before you spend.
Exactly. It's about saving and investing before you spend. The hard lesson here is that high income without discipline simply leads to high-status poverty. If this sounds like you, the article recommends checking out their detailed discussion in Escaping the Salary Monkey Trap.
Good resource. Beyond just how you spend, how you allocate your time, energy, and money for wealth-building activities is incredibly crucial. Here's a striking difference. Wealth builders spend nearly twice as many hours per month planning their financial investments as those who struggle to accumulate wealth.
Double the time. That's significant. It's about intentionality.
Totally intentional.
This brings us to the tale of 2 doctors, Dr. North and Dr. South. Both are physicians with identical $700,000 plus incomes.
700 grand plus. Huge incomes.
Huge. But their financial outcomes are radically different. Dr. North has a net worth of $7.5 million.
$7.5 million.
He dedicates 10 hours monthly to studying investment decisions and another 20 hours managing his current investments. He lives modestly, drives a used Mercedes, budgets carefully, and invests 40% of his pre-tax income. His focus: I make investment decisions based on areas I understand, agricultural land and medical and digital stocks.
Wow, 40% invested and focused expertise. Okay, what about Dr. South?
Dr. South, on the other hand, has a net worth of only $400,000.
From the same income level, that's a massive difference.
Massive. He spends a mere 3 hours monthly on investment planning and 1 hour managing investments. He drives a brand new $65,000 Porsche, has no budget, and spends all his income annually.
Spends it all.
And here's his revealing focus. I spend 60-plus hours researching the perfect car deal, but let 4 different brokers manage my tiny $200,000 portfolio.
60 hours on a car deal versus 4 hours on investments. It's such a powerful contract, isn't it? It just flips everything we think we know about status and success on its head.
Absolutely. This highlights the smart money approach versus the money-losing trap. The smart money focuses on expertise, like Dr. North investing what he understands. They buy quality and hold. Research shows many successful wealth builders make 0 stock trades in entire years.
Like Warren Buffett or Peter Lynch strategies.
Exactly, which the article references for more detailed methods. They emphasize fundamentals and minimize costs by making their own informed decisions. In contrast, the money-losing trap involves chasing popular trends, constantly buying and selling, and overpaying for advice by using multiple brokers who eat away at returns with fees.
Spreading attention too thin.
Yes, spreading attention too thin without deep knowledge and mistaking activity for actual progress.
The key insight from these 2 doctors is truly profound. Dr. South spent more on his car, $65,000, than he contributed to his retirement plan, $5,700, in the same year.
That one comparison says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. His prioritization explains his significant lack of wealth accumulation. What your buying habits reveal about your future is another core theme. The researchers identified 4 types of millionaire car buyers, and their approaches really speak volumes.
We're going to zero in on type 4, used vehicle-prone shoppers. These make up about 19.5% of millionaires, and they are the ultimate bargain hunters. They shop everywhere: dealers, private parties, auctions, lease returns.
They leave no stone unturned.
Nope. They often take months to find the perfect deal, viewing every purchase through the lens of value, not status. And here's the kicker. This group has the highest wealth-to-income ratio of all groups, boasting $17.20 of net worth for every $1 of income.
$17 of wealth for every $1 of income. That's incredible. Their strategy is pure frugality and patience. They never buy new cars, letting others absorb the massive initial depreciation.
Right. They are the strongest budgeters and planners. It's about being truly intentional with every dollar.
Understanding that every dollar saved is a dollar that can go to work for you.
The article encapsulates this perfectly with a powerful quote. Seeds are a lot like dollars. You can eat the seeds or sow them, but when you see what seeds turn into 10-foot-high corn, you don't want to waste them. This really underscores the frugality to wealth connection.
Love that analogy. To help you cultivate these wealth-building purchase habits, the article offers 5 concrete tips. First, always ask the opportunity cost question.
What else could this money do?
Exactly. Before any major purchase, ask yourself, what would this money be worth if I invested it instead? That $40,000 luxury car could be $400,000 in retirement savings.
Puts it in perspective.
Second, buy quality at discount prices. Millionaires shop end-of-season sales and outlets. As one noted, I never bought a suit that was not on sale.
Smart shopping.
Third, focus on value, not status. Choose products based on utility and cost per use, not social signaling. A reliable Honda Accord often serves you better than a flashy BMW.
Function over flash.
Fourth, practice delayed gratification. Wait 30 days before any major purchase. Often the desire passes, or you find a better deal. And fifth, calculate the true cost. Remember, to spend $100, you often have to earn $140 or more pre-tax.
Oof, yeah, the tax bite. Every dollar saved is more valuable than every dollar earned. When you apply these habits consistently, they compound dramatically over time. A family that saves $20,000 annually through smart purchasing could have an extra $1 million or more over 20 years compared to their consumption-focused neighbors.
$1 million just from smarter buying habits.
Well, that's a staggering difference that builds over decades.
Now, let's talk about a major wealth destroyer that many people, often with the best intentions, fall into: the financial subsidies trap, or what the researchers call economic outpatient care.
EOC. Sounds ominous.
It kind of is. This refers to the substantial gifts affluent parents give their adult children. It's shocking. 46% of affluent Americans give at least $15,000 annually to their adult children.
Nearly half. And while it seems benevolent, the research reveals a disturbing pattern. The more dollars adult children receive, the fewer dollars they accumulate, while those who are given fewer dollars accumulate more.
Wait, so getting more money leads to less wealth? That's completely counterintuitive.
It is. But the data is clear. These subsidies often lead to reduced work ethic, consumption addiction because they never learn to budget or save, and even family dysfunction.
Okay, give us an example.
Consider Mary and Lamar. Their combined income is $60,000, but they live like a family earning $150,000. Why? Because Mary's parents give them $15,000 plus in cash annually.
Okay, that's the 1510K baseline.
Plus additional subsidies like private school tuition for their kids, mortgage down payments, and even stock gifts for cars.
So they're living way beyond their earned means.
Totally. The psychological impact is profound. They view Mary's parents' wealth as their own income, making no distinction between earned and gifted money. They've never developed basic budgeting or saving skills, and they live in constant anticipation of the next financial gift.
And what happens when the subsidies stop?
Exactly. They have no idea how to maintain their lifestyle. It creates dependence, not independence.
It's truly amazing how a lack of financial support can actually be the catalyst for independence. Look at Paul Orfalea, who built Kinko's into a $600 plus million company with just a $5,000 loan co-signed by his father.
Just $5,000.
That modest help forced him to develop real business skills. Or Laura, who, after her husband abandoned her with 3 children, refused money from her wealthy parents. Instead, she built a successful real estate business and became financially independent.
Her strength came from necessity, not comfort. So if you're a parent, how do you avoid becoming a financial subsidy provider without hurting your children? The right way to help includes funding education that builds earning capacity, not lifestyle.
Education, not just stuff.
Right. Give tools, not fish providing knowledge and opportunities.
Right.
Require skin in the game by matching their contributions to teach value. The wrong way is paying adult children's mortgages, funding lifestyles they can't afford, making gifts without effort, or creating sibling competition for your financial attention.
That makes a lot of sense. Building on this, Stanley and Danko developed the 10 Commandments of Wealthy Parenting for raising financially independent children. We don't have time for all 10, but let's hit a few key ones.
Okay.
1. Never tell children their parents are wealthy. Many successful children of the rich didn't know their parents were affluent until they became executors of their estates.
Wow, keep it under wraps.
2. No matter how wealthy you are, Teach your children discipline and careful spending by example. Walk the talk.
Lead by example, crucial.
And perhaps most powerfully, 10. Tell children many things are more valuable than money, like good health, happiness, and self-reliance.
Amen to that. Ken's father, a physician and millionaire mentioned in the research, was a perfect example. He valued Ken working as a busboy throughout high school, never asking for money, and starting his own business with a small, repaid loan.
Instilling work ethic.
Exactly. He taught Ken, I'm not impressed with what people own, but I'm impressed with what they achieve. Always strive to be the best in your field. Don't chase money. If you are the best in your field, money will find you. That wisdom is gold.
Powerful stuff. Finally, let's talk about finding your path to financial independence. Here's the most important career statistic from the book. Self-employed people represent less than 20% of workers in America, but account for 2/3 of millionaires.
2/3. That's huge. This isn't coincidence. As the article details in its guide From Idea to Entity, business ownership offers several unique advantages. Absolutely. Business ownership provides unlimited income potential because there's no salary cap. You get significant tax advantages through business expenses and deductions. You're building an asset that can be sold for multiples of annual income. And critically, you have control.
Control over your decisions, your time, your financial destiny.
Precisely.
The research differentiates two primary paths to wealth through self-employment: the professional path and the business owner path. Professionals like physicians and attorneys have portable skills, consistent demand, high margins.
But challenges too, right? Late start due to education, high lifestyle expectations, often trading time for money.
Right. The business owner path, manufacturing, retail, services, lets you scale beyond your personal time, start compounding wealth earlier, and often has lower lifestyle expectations.
But also higher failure rates, need for capital, more economic cycle risk, trade-offs.
Definitely trade-offs.
What's fascinating is the dull normal business secret. Those boring businesses often create the most wealth. Think wallboard manufacturing, janitorial services, pest control, or sand and gravel.
Boring equals rich. How does that work?
Well, think about it. Less competition, steady demand that isn't trendy, lower customer acquisition costs, and more predictable cash flows. They're not glamorous, but they're incredibly effective wealth builders.
And it really challenges the common perception of risk. Most people think business ownership is riskier than employment.
But successful entrepreneurs see it differently. As an employee, you have a single source of income, your boss, and no control over job security. An entrepreneur, like the one selling janitorial services, might have hundreds of customers, hundreds of income sources.
That's diversified risk,
Yeah.
much less risky in a way.
Exactly. Plus control and unlimited upside. So the decision framework for you is clear. Choose the professional path if you prefer predictable income, social status, and maybe a more structured environment. Choose the business owner path if you're comfortable with uncertainty, have practical skills, want unlimited income potential, and prefer control.
And remember, a hybrid approach, like a professional who builds business investments on the side, is also a powerful option.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's bring it all home. The core takeaway from this deep dive is crystalline. The path to wealth isn't about earning the highest income or looking the most successful. It's about consistently applying proven, often counterintuitive principles.
It's truly a playbook for financial freedom. And to help you get started, here's your Millionaire Action Plan, derived from the article. For immediate actions, you can start this week.
Okay, what can people do now?
Calculate your wealth ratio using that formula we discussed, age times income divided by 10. See where you stand. Create a detailed monthly budget. Actually track it. Set up automatic investing of at least 15% of your income.
15% minimum. Got it.
Audit your lifestyle for unnecessary status spending. Be honest. And define your financial independence goals with specific target dates.
Make it real. What about longer term?
For long-term strategies to build over years, develop specialized expertise that commands premium pricing, build multiple income streams if possible, focus on buying appreciating assets rather than depreciating consumer goods.
Assets, not liabilities.
Right. Cultivate relationships with other wealth-focused individuals. Your network matters. And teach your children financial discipline through your example.
And finally, the mindset.
And finally, the mindset shift that will truly transform how you think. Redefine success from income generation to wealth accumulation. Value frugality as a strength, not a weakness. See opportunity costs in every spending decision. Prioritize financial independence over social approval. And most importantly, think like an owner, not just a consumer.
So remember this. Most wealthy people don't look like society expects, don't act like stereotypes suggest, and don't spend like media portrays. They're your neighbors who quietly build wealth while others chase status. The choice is yours. Will you be the person who earns well but accumulates little? Or will you become the wealthy neighbor driving a Honda?
The path is clear. The principles are proven. The only question is, are you ready to start?
For those ready to transform their financial future, the original article encourages you to visit bullishbooks.com and subscribe for more research-backed insights on building real wealth in today's economy.